Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are watching this, listening to this, or whatever time of day or evening it is. I've got Holly and Nick with me, two very experienced investors who are going to be talking about moving to the investment area. Hi guys, how are you?
Yeah.
Hi, good, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming along. Well, I'm sure you're sat at home, aren't you, or in your office or something. So, thanks for making the long journey. I'm going to get into why you moved to your investment area in a little while. I mean, this is sort of a series of podcasts, if you like, around investment area. We're doing one on how you choose your investment area, and also another one on investing from a distance. But like I say, we'll get into why you moved there and how it all happened and everything. First of all, I want to know about you before property. What was your careers? What was your lifestyle? What did it look like? Where did you live?
We lived in North Finchley in London, and I was a beauty therapist, self-employed, and I was getting down into the nitty-gritty of all the kind of self-development books and mindset, Miracle Morning and things like that, getting into my business flow. And
I've worked in IT for quite a long time, so that's been my career in sort of IT and telecoms. Again, sort of in London, and Holly and I met in London, so we've been there for a number of years before we met. But yeah, that's where we sort of come from, I guess.
And what about your lifestyle? I mean, North London lifestyle, was it sort of a typical London lifestyle?
Yeah.
What does that look like for a non-Londoner? I mean, I'm a South Londoner myself, but so I know what it's like living in the big smoke.
North of the river. But it was lovely. We had a really good time there. I just had lots of friends there at the time as well.
Yeah, and we had a typical life of just, we worked during the day, and then pretty much every night we went to a pub or went out and saw our friends, and different places in London you can go out, get on the tube, and it was definitely busy. We never really were at home a lot, actually. We were out most of the time.
It's brilliant. There was always something to do, always something different to do as well. And everything's pretty accessible, although everywhere will take at least 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, I'm exactly that. Wherever I'm going, I think, right, I need about an hour to get there, just in case. Yeah, it's even best laid plans, and you still can end up taking longer. I actually drove from Richmond to Canary Wharf to a seminar that I was running, and it took 2.5 hours. We were almost there, and I said to the other two that I was with, we could have driven to Birmingham by now. We could have left Richmond and been in Birmingham doing a seminar there, which made me think we don't need to go overnight to Birmingham anymore. But there we go.
It's crazy. When I first met Holly, I lived near Finsbury Park, which is kind of like North London. Holly was living over in Chiswick.
Willesden Green, actually.
Oh, well, I was thinking about the Chiswick journey as well.
I see, yeah.
And so
I moved a lot.
I worked out I could probably run to Holly's house quicker than I could drive there.
Yeah.
And it was like a 45-minute drive, but it would just take so long in the car. It was like, it'd just be quicker to jog there.
And even when I first moved in, like I said, Willesden Green, that was zone 2. I used to drive everywhere because for me, it was like if I had to get in and out and across, it was a bit. So I just thought, well, I want to still get there. I'll just drive. I thought I was a bit mad, really. But then when we moved, we then did the tube more.
So you had a busy lifestyle.
Yeah.
Holly, you had your own business, so obviously you said you've been reading mindset sort of books. So you'd obviously got some kind of entrepreneurial spirit about you. Why? What got you sort of hooked into property? What was it that attracted you?
It was actually the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think everybody probably says that a lot of the time, but it was that I was reading all those books and I kept trying to get Nick to read them, and Nick was like, no, busy, happy with my 9 to 5 kind of thing. And I was like, no, it's so good though. And whenever we went on holiday or anything like that, you just wouldn't, would you? And then I saw a Facebook post saying, come to this Rich Dad Poor Dad property focused 2-hour thing in London, and I was like, ooh, and I was like, oh, do you want to come with me to this? I don't want to go alone, even though I'm fine going alone, but I was like, come with me, and dragged you along, and
trying to
trying to get him involved in it. I was just like, come on, I want you to see what I can see.
Yeah, you probably there was probably a carrot of a pub afterwards.
Yeah.
So there you were, Holly, trying to push this rope, which doesn't work.
Yeah. At this stage, he just thought I was mad and crazy because I was doing all this kind of, like I said, getting up early and doing,
You're doing a bit of multi-level marketing at the time as well,
Yes,
and I didn't sort of get that kind of thing, but
No.
but there were
I
a
still
lot of
don't.
books around that way.
Yeah, exactly. But it was all the same kind of books and the learnings and the mindset stuff, and you were just very much like work
Yeah,
and then
boring.
pub kind of thing, and didn't really want to do anything else. And I was like, I want more. I want to do more in life, and I thought property and investing would be the answer. And lo and behold, at that 2-day event, 2-hour event,
yeah.
you were like, I think you were like the first to even sign up. You were like, totally sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I'd always
interesting.
been-
So
Yeah,
you
it
dragged him
flipped.
along, Holly, and Nick, you actually went signing at the back of the room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'd always wanted to do some property, kind of in inverted commas. But the employer I've been working for, I joined quite a while back, so I knew at some point in the future I was going to have maybe some share options coming through. So I had some ideas about what I'd kind of do with that. But I'd always kind of assumed that when you go and buy property, you kind of buy property with money, and then you just leave it there and nothing happened. That's kind of, and I was like, so then in my plans, I was like, well, I can only buy one property, if even that sort of thing. So that's not really going to be my pension. But I hadn't really understood anything past that. So going to the 2-hour thing, I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, and you had done a little bit before, weren't
Somebody
you?
show me the secret sort of thing.
Yeah.
That was definitely a big sort of game changer. I think really changed my mindset on it.
And that was with Asset Academy, of course.
Yeah. That was with you guys.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then that just led on to, the basic training,
Yeah.
the 3-day.
And where was the
basic,
2-hour
and then
seminar? Can you remember?
It was it the Bloomsbury?
Bloomsbury, probably.
Yeah.
Right.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Was I there?
No.
You'd seen property as sort of a pension plan all along anyway. Holly, I guess you were drawn to the entrepreneurial aspect of it, were you? Or was it a similar thing? You were both thinking along similar lines as well?
It was the time freedom of it all. The fact that from going from my kind of 9 to 5 job, well, actually it was probably longer hours than that. I worked in kind of corporate aesthetics, working with surgeons, doctors, and things like that. And it was very long shifts and booking in beds and stuff for surgery. So when I went to, that was long, but then when I went and worked for myself, it was even longer. I wasn't now just doing that job. I was the accountant, I was the marketing person, I was everything. And I just thought, gosh, okay, I have a bit more freedom in saying what I do because I now do my own thing, but I actually am busier than I've ever been before. And the whole point was I wanted more time freedoms, and reading that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, kind of, I was like, oh gosh, actually I can be making my money work better, and we can be living off of some of the cash flow rather than, residual. Make sure that we don't have to keep working forever and ever and ever.
Yeah. And that thing of having to do everything is every self-employed person's life and story as well, isn't it? You take that plunge, and then all of a sudden you're going, oh wow, I've got to work 12 hours or 14 hours a day or more.
Yeah, like more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So had you thought about doing property for a while before that, or was it that advert that sparked the idea?
I'd had some property in the past. So I bought a flat in 2005, I think. It's kind of like an off-plan flat. Bought it with a Northern Rock mortgage, 110% lending.
Wow.
So they give you loads of money and they give you a loan as well, just in case you want some more money. So
any wonder we had a financial crisis?
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. I think it was a 1% deposit was all we did.
Wow.
So that's crazy. But that was so I lived there for about 5 years, and then at that point wanted to move to London. So I turned it into like a buy-to-let, but because of the type of mortgage and stuff on it, it was negatively cash flowing before any costs. But I still wanted to move to London, and I couldn't sell it as well. So it was kind of like, okay, that's stuck there, kind of just costing me £100 a month sort of thing just to have a house that I can't use. We moved to London, and then eventually I sold it, but at a loss. So that had kind of been my baggage, I guess, of property and sort of property investment. So I was even more cautious when it came to looking at do property investing again. So that was, I guess, another reason why when we went to the first 2 hour talk, I was like, okay, actually, I can get somebody to tell me how to do this properly, sort of thing, and not make the mistakes I made in the past. So we had some property in the past, but got burnt a bit, sort of thing, and that's kind of where I came from, I guess, from property investment background.
So you learned how to do it properly. Yeah. So fast forward, then you've been investing how long now? How long is it?
3 years? It was February 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. We started
3.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. 3.5 years, and you decided to move to your investment area. Where is it?
Yeah. Sheffield.
You're in Sheffield, aren't you? Yes. So quite a change.
Yeah, London to Sheffield is big difference.
I did have to do a lot of coaxing. The same story as before, trying to get him to the thing. I was just like, come on, we need to come to Sheffield. Look, it's great, kind of thing. And we did love it every time we went up. But from February till September, we were pretty much there every weekend. And as I'm sure everyone's experiencing within this property journey, you know, if it's 3 hours up, 3 hours back, and you normally do it on the same day. And if not, you're staying over, and then there's costs. And we're trying to get 12 viewings in a day. And it was great. But it did get to a point where quite quickly we were like, it's only really for us going to work. And thankfully we could do it because Nick's IT, he could work from home. I'm self-employed. I could take myself anywhere if I wanted to. So we did have that flexibility, but it was one of those where it's like, every time you'd go up there, 3 hours, you go to a viewing, knock on the door, no one's there, you're calling the estate agent who'd already confirmed the viewing, and they say, oh, we've already got an offer accepted, not doing any more viewings. And you're like, but I'm booked and I've just come all this way. And so that started to really niggle at us, didn't it? So that's what helped us make the decision.
So how long into your investment career, let's call it, was it before you made the decision? So how long had you been doing this, you know, these daily trips?
4 months.
Yeah.
4 months.
It was so we started in February with the training stuff.
Yeah.
And then it was June, July, we decided that we were going to move up here.
And then we actually moved in the September that year.
So quite quickly then.
Yeah, really quickly. Yeah, I think it just kind of all worked out because wasn't it June, July where the place we were renting was kind of coming to its year and we could let them we gave notice and it was rolling then.
Yeah.
So we had that opportunity as well. And although you didn't want to go at first, although you love Sheffield now, and you don't want to go back, do you?
No.
Well, you're really happy here. Like, we're really happy here. But at the time, it was like trying to convince him. But like, we were saving £1,000 a month on rent just by moving, which was actually my financial freedom figure that I needed to really be able to get into property. So I then went property full time then because we were in Sheffield.
So lots of advantages. What was, I mean, so you spent all those sort of 3 or 4 months. I mean, you've touched on a couple of the frustrations there that estate agents would, you know, all of a sudden cancel. What sort of impact was it having on your then normal life, you know, your work and lifestyle?
I guess so. Like there was a few challenges. Some of them were like we'd be working a lot in the mornings and evenings around work to try and get in. So even during the week, kind of trying to fit in the stuff we need to do around planning our weekend to do the viewings. So there was a lot of work around that. And then also when it came to the weekend, we had quite an active social life. So I probably started to resent a bit that we were losing out on social life. So we'd planned to go and do the viewings and stuff, and then we'd miss out on something cool that was happening that we're supposed to be doing. So I know it's, you know, you've got to make sacrifices, but
definitely did.
Those
but
sort
it was
of things
just,
sort of kind of grate on you a little bit. So they were definitely some of the challenges, I think. We didn't
really see friends. We didn't really see family. It was literally like from the February to pretty much Christmas, I think. We kind of was just doing our own thing then. Morning, evenings, weekends. We were just so with the amount we invested in the training, we were like, this has to work for us. This is the answer for us. And the only way we're going to do it is if we really do it.
You're really
like,
focused on it.
Serious about it.
I mean, you said you weren't seeing friends and family, but did you get a feeling of what they were thinking? You know, were they going, where are they? What are they doing?
Where are they?
Yeah.
They've gone insane.
Yeah.
And that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Lots of people feeling quite. We had some people on Facebook that weren't very supportive, but what we found out, they were just worried for us.
Yeah.
They were a bit like, it's weird, and they were just very, very protective, I guess. And then we did have quite a lot that were really like, wow, well, that's awesome, kind of thing. Like, and you must be brave or gutsy or whatever. They were just quite kind of thinking,
taking it seriously.
Yeah, like we're just going for it, serious.
It's interesting how people's sort of reactions manifest depending on what they're feeling. I mean, those people that were worried for you. You said what sort of things were they saying? What?
Like it's a scam, or like don't believe everything you read, kind of thing, and
kind of like, what if there's a crash?
Yeah.
What
the fears?
All the problem. What if you have problems with your builder? Or, kind of
all the usual what ifs.
Yeah, definitely.
And everyone's always probably got a story of they know someone that's done something that's gone wrong and stuff. So plenty of like advice of things that could go wrong, I think. But
it'll be people like yourself, like you had that one experience where you were paying for the house rather than getting money from it, and then you lost when you sold it. So I think there was definitely because of the past that there was quite a lot of other people that probably experienced that, or heard a lot of people that probably had a bad experience around that time, and they just kind of put that on us, and we just had to kept smiling, going, it's fine, we've done lots of training, we're educating ourselves, we're reading everything, we're doing it step by step, we promise we're being safe, and just reassuring them, really. But,
and thinking about the actual activity you had going on in Sheffield of looking at property, being that distance away, tell me how that went in those first few months. I mean, was it did you have difficulty building connections, or was it easier than you thought? What?
We actually built the connections before we moved, didn't we?
So one. So from a sort of, I guess, like a power team sort of local kind of connections thing, we were really fortunate that.
I just talk to everybody.
Yeah, so that's big.
I just approach everybody. There was we went to a viewing, didn't we? And there was a painter, electrician, and a builder all stood around the van chatting, and almost a bit intimidating, really. And I was like, they look like they're going to go. They look like
builders.
Yeah, and they look like they're going to do that house. So my plan isn't to view that house. My plan is to get them on board our team. And then I went in and started, literally, I just followed them in each room, and I think they just got a bit sick of me, really, and gave me their number. And then we just kept talking, didn't we? And they ended up being really good friends of ours, and we went out for drinks with them, and it was great. It was really good. And then they introduced us. It was really funny. They were like, right, when you move, we'll do a night out, and we'll introduce you to our team. We thought, oh, brilliant, thanks. That's just gonna build on that. And then when we went out and arrived, it was like, this is my mum, this is my children, this is my wife, and they'd all come from the football type thing, and we met loads of other people, and we made lots of friends through them.
Good old northern hospitality. It's not a myth, it's true.
It's totally different to London. People are genuinely nice up here.
I'm just reading a book about a cycling book. I'm keen on cycling, and this guy he followed the old Great North Road, which was superseded by the A1. But there was one point he was somewhere around about Wetherby, or maybe Newark, I think it was, and he said that's where he sort of noticed the change in friendliness. Because it was sort of around that Midlandy area, East Midlands area, that the friendliness suddenly changed. And by the time he got to Wetherby, yes, he was being introduced to friends, family, the dog, and great Aunt Nellie down the road. It was.
And it's definitely something you kind of got to get used to, because I was doing mainly a lot of the viewings on my own, and everyone would want to invite you in for a cup of tea, and I'd be like, I'm a single woman on my own in the middle of somewhere, and I need to make sure people know where I am. It seems really scary, but it's just it's not at all. It's really bizarre. Like, you would never do that anywhere else, but up here they're like, come in for a cuppa, sit down, put your foot up and have a little chat with us, and let's talk about selling this house, kind of thing. So you're like, okay, I'm going to buy this house. It was really, really different.
So I guess the question you asked as well earlier, like kind of what the other part of that was, kind of like, it probably was harder to build relationships with estate agents because they weren't seeing you as much and stuff like that. Although you kind of
before we moved,
whereas now you'd see them a lot more because you can do a lot more viewings.
And also when you just pick up the phone now and they just know who you are, and it's just consistency, isn't it? And popping in and doing everything you guys taught us, really. But it's what I enjoy anyway. I love just talking to people and getting out and about. That's my favourite bit.
Well, no, we've had very long conversations in the past as well. So you don't surprise me there. So was that sort of? I mean, we've gone off on a different tack here, which is great. Was that sort of friendliness and openness of people that knew you were going to be working with? Was that also something that helped you along with the decision? It seems like it was a pretty easy decision, though, in the end.
It was, yeah. It was reasonably. There was a few, so that really helped. I think meeting, especially the builder guys, they've been lovely, and we've got some long-term friends now through that relationship as well. So that made definitely a big part of it. But I think we also had to kind of. So yes, it was an easy decision, but also had to kind of check other stuff. So I had to check with my employer, and I had to kind of get the guts to ask my employer that if I could do this, because my worry was that we made the decision, we want to do this, but now I've got to get permission from my employer that I can do this kind of thing. So that was kind of that was a big thing for me, definitely kind of getting over to asking them to do it. And once I had it all in my head, explained how I was going to justify it and stuff like that, and then had a call with them, they're like, yeah, that's right.
But it wasn't even you built it up, but it wasn't even a thing, because although you were based in London, most of his accounts were up further, like in Hull and even other places, weren't they? York, Hull, and in North Wales and stuff like that. So in fact, moving to Sheffield meant that he was closer to all those places. So they seemed to be fine with that. So yeah.
Well, that was handy. Even though you still work remotely from them anyway, but
yeah, definitely.
So what I'm trying to get to, when you actually made the decision, was that a moment in time? Was it a date in the diary you'll never forget? I mean, or was it?
For me,
because it's like I say, it seems like it actually came as quite an easy thing in the end. I mean, picking up your life from North London, where you had a healthy social life or busy social life, lots of friends, family were close by, and then go, right, we're going 3 hours north.
Yeah.
So when you actually made the decision, when was it? How did it feel? Was it a momentous time?
I almost want to say I decided and then just took you with me.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
Yeah. I was like, that's how it just made sense to me. But I guess a bit of background for me as well. I'm originally from Plymouth down in Devon. I moved to Bristol and then we moved to London. When I was in London for 5 or 6 years, I think I moved 6 times, maybe 7 times in that time. Even when we first met, I mean, we met in the November and we were living with each other by the March, April or something.
Yeah.
Because I had to move again, and it was like so far away that it's either you're coming with me and it works, or it's not happening. So it was like I always moved. I'm a bit of a gypsy, I guess, like that. And so I find comfort. The house that we're in right now is one of our investment properties, and we've been here 2 years. And I want to move. It's the longest I've lived anywhere. And I'm like, we must move again. And he's like, no. And I'm like, I really want to move. So for me, I really get excited by moving. I get excited by new places, new people. For me, it's so comfortable. But for you, it was very, very different. So it was a lot of talking. But once I decided, I was like, right. I kind of almost was like, look, this is when it's going to end. This is where we can move in. I'll do all the viewings. I'll find us a place to live. And I did all the stuff that I enjoyed. And you just had to kind of prepare yourself just to let work know.
And then pack everything.
Oh, yeah, I don't really do the packing. When we move, he does all the moving. And I just...
That's the bit I don't like about moving.
I unpack.
So how did you feel when the decision had been made?
Yeah.
That you eventually agreed to.
It was good actually, because when we'd come up to Sheffield, quite often we'd stay over and we'd do some stuff. We'd go out for an evening, or we'd see a bit of the countryside. So I knew where we were moving to, and knew that I was actually looking forward to having more countryside, a new place to explore, and lots of cool stuff going on. So it was genuinely like looking forward to it.
They've got some great pubs here too, so that helped.
And I think being able to kind of, I think the other bit I was kind of looking forward to was the way that it meant that you could now do property full time. So we could do everything much more quickly, and we get more viewings in, and just be there and do a lot more stuff. So I think it was kind of, it went from something that we were trying to squeeze in weekends, like every other weekend, and to be something that we could actually focus on much more. I think that was what I was looking forward to as well. I think
so. It was taking it to from not a hobby but a part-time thing to a much more focused business-like enterprise endeavor. Yeah,
absolutely.
So you've been there how long now? Two and a bit.
3 years September.
Yes. 2019.
2018 till now.
2018. Yes. 3 years in September.
And what was the immediate effect then in that first, say, 6 months to your property business?
So we came up in September. We got we completed on our first property in the February after that, didn't we?
So basically, So we actually at that stage we did a T60 actually with you guys. Just because again we wanted
Mark or Lindsay?
We went with Lindsay. Yeah, so we went with Lindsay, and we were kind of on calls with him every week, every other week. It was like constant, and he would be like.
So you started that shortly after you moved up there.
Pretty much that September, like we started it the moment we pretty much moved in. Like we still have boxes around us and working away, kind of thing. And it was for me. I mean, I think you just had to deal with me, but for me, I literally was either crying every other week, frustrated every other week, and just no matter what I did, nothing seemed to happen at the time, and that was even doing it full time. And it wasn't until Lindsay turned around and said, have you actually offered on 40 viewings? And I had I'd seen loads of properties, but had I actually offered on every single one? So I just made it my goal, and I think within 2 weeks I'd seen 40 properties and offered on all of them, and we had 2 offers accepted. So when he actually said that was like the kind of thing where I was like, oh my God. And then that happened. I think we got the call that the offers were accepted on the 22nd of December.
Yeah.
And then we got the keys in February for our first property. Although we had 2, we only went with 1 at the time.
So it was literally the numbers game. It was actually just pulling in the offers. Do you think you could have done that from a distance?
I think it would
in the same amount of time.
Well, I don't think we could have done it in the same amount of time, because just getting the quality viewings in, and trying to squeeze in those quality viewings on a weekend would have been.
I literally would pick up the phone and they say, "Can you view it in like 10 minutes?" I'm like, "I'm around the corner in the car. Go, put an offer in." And even then, I wasn't always getting anywhere, if that makes sense. So to kind of wait till the weekend to see that property, someone like me that's there has kind of already taken it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it was for us, even though it was intense and we felt a lot of pressure because we've moved there. So it was that other added pressure that we've moved there. I'm now not doing my job. I'm doing this. It needs to work. Lots of viewings and stress. But then it was like, got one finally.
Yeah.
So
so from the moment we started training and
lifted.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. But I work good under pressure. If I don't have that pressure, I can be, quite. I want to say useless. I'm not useless, but that kind of pressure really gets me going. It really motivates me. So it worked really well for us. So it took us a whole year to get our first one. Through loads of different reasons, through the fact of distance, through the fact of maybe confidence, loads of things, education.
And what was the first deal? What was it like? What was it? The property?
Yes. So do you want to? You can.
So we got it for 60.
Yeah.
Yeah. Refurb was about 14, I think. So it was a
3 or 4 doors down from us.
Yeah.
Right now.
So we found one of our little gold mine areas with that. But So it was a 3-bed terrace, mid terrace, good size, like about 850 square foot. It had been owned by a property investor before, but they were now cleaning out their portfolio and getting rid of some stuff. So it was a bit tired, but didn't need like a complete massive refurb. So
we just reconfigured the bathroom and opened up the kitchen.
Yeah.
That was the main stuff, and the rest was just all cosmetic.
So yeah,
Did really well, didn't it?
turned it around in like 6 weeks, did we? I think.
Really quick.
And then we refinanced it within about. So we bought it with a Together bridge, and then refinanced it in about 4 months after completion. Revalued it at 85k. So we're quite happy with kind of got it for 60, spent 14 on it, revalued it at 85.
And then a house has just sold 2 doors down, which is next door to that one, for 105. So it's gone up again, which is great. And at the time when we first found it, it was only, and I say only, right now it'd be great, but it was 16% return on investment, which isn't what you kind of initially get taught. You want a bit more than that, but we need to start somewhere. We want to practice and learn and get something. And
well, I think that's a good point. Getting that first one, even if it's not perfect, is actually a really good idea. I remember one. Was it Harriet or Tracy used to say, just get that first property. You're not going to get 100% money in, money out, but getting that first one is so important to actually start the ball rolling, to get to kickstart. So even though it was only 16%, it's 16% better than a bank.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And no, it ended up being 26% return on investment in the end, because we got a higher rent for the area. We thought the rent was going to be something like 500 if we were lucky. We got it for 595. And also when it's now the money's back out, so it was even better.
So we was on a 2-year fixed, and then we ended the 2-year fixed, and they revalued it at 95 this year. So it went from buying it at 60, now it's worth 95. So the ROI kind of got better over time as well. So, and
something where the return on investment was like 4 years plus. In 2 years we've got some money back, and we're cash flowing about 300 a month.
Amazing.
After everything.
So, but we're pleased with it. And you're right, it was definitely getting that first one was brilliant, because when then we got good broker contacts, solicitor contacts, everything was then there and tried and tested. So when it came to the next one, we knew the process to expect, the people to talk to, and all that
and
sort of
just
stuff.
help break through barriers of ourselves as well. It's so easy to kind of make excuses or be uncertain about something, but now you've done something, you can kind of go, well, we've done that before, we can do it again. It's absolutely. And then the next one was the one that we're living in now, because while we were refurbing that one, the house next to this one had some broken windows, and I was like, I want that one, and I couldn't find who owned it. And as I was there, a lady walked into the house. And I just thought, right. So I literally ran up to the door and knocked, and kind of when she opened it, I almost like put my head in. I was like, I don't suppose you're looking to sell? And she was like, well, potentially. Basically, her tenant had just destroyed her house, and it looked like a fire had been in there. It was really quite sad. But she couldn't. It was a 2-bed, and she wanted 70. Whereas we've just bought a 3-bed for 60, and I said, I wouldn't be able to do that if you're able to negotiate. She said, I can't because of my mortgage, but my dad, who owns the house next door, he doesn't have a mortgage. He'll negotiate with you. So I bought the house that we're in for 65,000.
And did you get the other one in the end? Did you get her?
This one's now, they decided to keep it, and she's renting it out to somebody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but at least we know them, and we still keep in touch with the person that owned this house, and it's really nice.
Nick, are you still doing the IT? Are you still involved in IT?
Yeah. So I've changed my my working hours to work 4 days a week. So about 4 months ago, I again, it's something I've been putting off and hadn't sort of made the decision to do it, but had a bit of a push by our coach to sort of to do it. I basically approached my employer and said, look, can I work 4 days a week? I'm happy to take a pay cut. Because I want to spend more time with my partner or whatever kind of thing.
Property.
So that's helped. That's really helped. So I've got 4 days a week now working still. So that's very useful. Got more mortgageable salary and all that sort of stuff. So lending is still easy, but I've now got an extra day a week to work on property, which is great, because I can get on with loads of the because I do all the boring stuff like the legals and the finance and that sort of stuff, so I can get that done on Fridays, which is great.
I mean, sourcing was the first one, wasn't it? We started sourcing, and naturally through sourcing, we then started to do some project coordination. So kind of hands off. If investors were down south or just not in the area, then we would help with our refurb team. We'd bring them in, we'd have the contacts and all of that, and kind of make sure it was all in the timelines that we think was appropriate for that refurb. That then led on to management.
Yeah.
So we now manage properties as well, and
All for other investors.
Yeah, but mainly only to the people that we source to, really. So it's kind of, it's not like we're a big management company where we just take everybody. It's more we find it, we refurb it, and then we manage it, and then we kind of it's a whole package now.
Yeah, we decided with that we're not planning to be a massive letting agent, but where we've either, as Holly said, if we've refurbed it or we've been involved in the refurb, then we're happy to manage it. We didn't want to start taking on unknown investors, unknown properties, because if they don't care about their property, then that just becomes a nightmare.
Yeah, so we wanted to work with people like us where, they have got a nice working boiler and it's not going to break.
And they care about the tenants as well.
Yeah, exactly, like us. So we manage our own, and we manage other people that we help within our business, Wolf and Sword, which is nice, And then the third one is property pipeline.
Because I'm a bit IT geeky techie. When we first started in property, I was looking at a way to kind of manage all the data and stuff that we're kind of generating, and I couldn't find a system to do it. So I knew I could build one, but I wanted to wait until we had some experience. So the other business we started up last year was Property Pipeline, which is like a CRM for property investors based on our experience. So we kind of built it for us initially to kind of follow the process that you do, like doing loads of viewings, follow-ups, numbers, all that sort of stuff. And we did that based on how we work as property investors, and then realised that the system actually would work well for anybody else that's kind of doing the same sort of stuff as us. So that was kind of the other business that we started sort of last year, I think. So it's been going for a year now.
A year and a half, but a year launched, and going well, helping others as well, which is nice.
So that's designed to get rid of the spreadsheets, the notebook, the phone, all the back of the...
Yeah, it's all in one place, everything. Because before, you might be on a Word document to create a finance document to give to an angel investor. Itself creates it for you. You might be doing all your numbers on a piece of paper, and there's got calculators on there and stuff like that. So it's one place where it does everything.
And we made it because I'm techie, but then it was great because I had Holly as the non-techie to kind of guide me in what she needed.
I just come back from a viewing, I'd be like, I need all these things, that's what I need today, add them to the system, please.
So we made it so it's non-techie for you to kind of do it without kind of being too
make it user-friendly and easy to, I mean, you're not the only IT techie person I know who's done that. So it's brilliant that you created your own system as well.
Well, because of, again, through the training, they very much teach you the kind of 5-year plan, and obviously you break it down into smaller chunks, but we're going to be at the end of our 5-year in 2 years' time, and the end of that 5-year plan was to get married. So we're engaged, so we're ticking off boxes, and we're getting married. Thank you very much. But getting married 2 years pretty much to the day from now, and then we wanted to go traveling. So we've got a plan of a 6-month travel. This is what it was all for the travel that we always wanted, that freedom. So that will be the 6-month travel. And then after that, we're just at the stage where we need to do like another 3 to 5 year plan. So when we get back from traveling, we've got some goals, but something around another house and maybe a little puppy.
Yeah.
Something. I love a little puppy. Too busy for one at the moment. So they're the kind of plans that we've had, and by doing that, we kind of work backwards. So from that, what do we need to get there, and
that equates to a number of houses. Like, so there's a few buy-to-lets, a few HMOs, some SAs is kind of what we're adding each year to get us to that point in 2 years' time, when we can 2.5 years' time when we can disappear off traveling for 6 months.
Yes, that'd be great.
So I think when we did the move, when we moved at that point, we we had some plans, but they weren't as concrete as they are now.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was like, we're going to do some property investing sort of plans.
We were just hoping to get one property, weren't we, to kind of start that journey, and we dreamt big, but we never.
I think when we moved here and we started being kind of more future planning, it was at that point we did put together like a 5-year plan. We're like, okay, this is what we need each year. This is, and then almost you kind of work back from, to get that property, I need to now work back and I need to do 30, 40 viewings or whatever. So you kind of worked all the way back to actually, what do I need to do day to day to get us to those?
How many buy-to-lets, how many HMOs, that type of thing. And we just kept working on it. I guess in answer to your question, I don't know if we would have got to where we've got to now if we were still in London. Like, we're on property number 7. We've sourced properties, we've managed properties, we've created a system by being on the ground doing this day in and day out. And all of those things are little bits of streams of income from different angles, multiple streams, and it's really kind of keeping us on track, really.
Yeah, it's definitely life changing. Yeah, and I look at everything very differently now. In kind of like not from a purely like capitalist point of view, but you're kind of like, is there a revenue stream with that thing? You know, kind of, which is a really cool way to be able to look at the world, instead of like, I need to go to work and somebody's going to pay me some money and then I come home, and if I want some more money, I've got to work longer hours.
And if you want time off, you've got to ask. Whereas you're kind of getting a bit away from that now slowly, which is nice. So yeah, the next plan, when the wedding happens, that'll be when Nick will be stepping away and we'll be both.
That was my next question. Is when does IT become history for you? And
that'll be the point. So it's about 2 years from now, I think. Yeah.
If not a little bit earlier, but yeah.
So advice for anybody who's thinking of moving to their investment area, what would you say are key things to consider?
I think one would be that ideally you want to really like the area you're going to move to. So going up and doing the viewings before you move there, but then staying over and going out and kind of exploring the area and making sure that you can enjoy your time there is super important, because once you're there, then you're there, and you've made that decision. So if you know on a weekend, now you've got your weekends back because you're not having to do as much around the weekends, and you can go and enjoy yourself. That's really important.
Yeah, and I think just really double check kind of your ins and your outs and the plan to do it, because some people I've spoken to can jump really quickly and then they're a bit like, I'm a bit stuck. So it's just double checking that it's right for you. I mean, we don't have kids or anything like that, so I think it's a lot easier for us. If someone had kids, they've got to look at the schools and how far away are they from family for support. I think of all those things because I have friends that have those things. So, but yeah, I think just think it over, make sure you have somewhere that you like. And
I think renting first is always a good shout as well, because then you can you've got a bit of flexibility to try out different areas, because you won't know an area until you live there, sort of thing. So renting helps as well.
I mean, you're not the other side of the world, but I guess there's a sort of you're leaving behind your friends and close people that are close to you. How did that sit with you guys? What you say? Forget them. They're fine. We'll
It was at a stage where actually they were all kind of slowly moving out of London, having babies and living their life. So it was more the fact that it was almost just us in the pub and not them anymore, because they started to get really busy. So
you were the two left in the club.
Are we the ones that are
still here?
Yeah, we're just left, and we're like, oh, okay, fine.
Need to move to a different city to find some new drinking buddies.
So yeah, but then I think as well, like we were so busy. So for the first year, 2019 was just busy. Property, crazy. And then of course 2020 was COVID, and in a way, with COVID, everything was on Zoom. I am probably even more closer to my friends and my family than I've ever been, because I can see them more and talk to them more. And if I was going out for my hour walk or whatever I had, I'd have my earphones in and catching up with somebody. which was really nice. So we haven't really felt like it's been, and a lot of people have visited us, and we can still visit them, and it's quite nice to show them Sheffield. And
yeah. Last thing then, if if somebody was going to take the plunge, they'd looked at all the pros and cons, and what would you say to them?
do it.
Do it now. Do it now. I mean, your business has clearly thrived. I mean, it goes without saying you're really happy that you did make the move. If there was one thing you would do differently, is there anything? If you could give yourselves a little piece of advice, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and
but I don't know. Maybe one thing is, so we've been through quite a few builders. So expect to go through quite a few builders. Maybe you're not always gonna.
It's never always going to go to plan.
Yeah.
Just be prepared that you just got to be adaptable.
Yeah. But I think that
expect challenges, but you can get through them. And you've had some great guidance as well. You've had Lindsay there, and I'm sure there's been other people who have been helping you.
Definitely. We did the 3-day mentorship with Debbie. She catapulted us with our sourcing business. So that was good.
If someone tells you no, just find somebody, keep on asking people till you find somebody.
Yeah, that was always good advice.
I know it's kind of a well-known one, but definitely solicitors and everything, like you can find somebody that will give you the right answer.
There's always a solution, and even with the move thing, like for us, it's kind of like, well, if it doesn't work, we'll just move back. Like with everything, we'll give that a go, and if it doesn't, we'll change it. It's fine. It's not the end of the world,
But it clearly has worked. So you're going great guns, which is great to see. Well, thank you very much. Very interesting, very enlightening. I think I've got a few little bits and pieces from that which I hadn't considered, and there'll be people out there who are considering or maybe just about to move to the investment area. I know we're going to find this all really valuable. So thanks for joining me, and hopefully we'll see each other in person someday soon.
That'd be great. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
So you can see there's loads more to learn about property investing, and guess what? These videos, they're all ready for you to learn even more. So click either one of these right now, and you can get some more information on how to grow your portfolio. Click the video. That one. Either one. Go on.